Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Monday, the 16th of January, comes to you from London. And a sea of red on the screen this morning. It's a day where we're seeing the US close for Martin Luther King Day, but in Europe, we're seeing energy prices falling very sharply, and so we are going to just cover that to begin with. Normally we cover it at the end of Charts Today. I put this out every day, so you can watch it at chartstoday.com. But here I'm sharing it on LinkedIn and, of course, my normal audience who have registered for it. So we're seeing TTF down 12%, breaking to a new 14-month low. No big surprises there. We talked about that this morning in our morning report to clients. We were just breaking that level. New downside targets given to clients first thing this morning. And of course, that's played out already today. So we are seeing that move right down, and I've had quite a few people already asking me, so how low do we go? The key thing is we were below the clouds both on the 60-minute and on the daily chart. So we were bearish ever really since the beginning of September. We've been bearish on the short term, lots of downward pressure, and we had a target given to 51.60 when we're at 66. That was given at the beginning of the year, and another one given on the 60-minute chart. This was on the daily and the 60-minute, and of course the 1-minute charts. If you're trading gas, these are the charts that you've got to be watching. Those targets being met, you just cannot ignore them. And so we're seeing here downside targets all being met, and we are still going lower, and new targets will be generated with every new move up and then a new downside target. So really key there. So we are seeing gas prices under further pressure, and the fact that we've broken below that 63 level, that's really significant now, and we need to find a new floor, and the targets are pointing that way. The same is applying to MBP. 150 was the support level there. We've broken that this morning. We've got targets to 124, 134, 129, but these targets have been generated all the time. This is the daily chart. This was given at 160, and now we're below 140. This was given here, the 134. This target was given at the beginning of the year, and the 129 target. And again, on the 1-minute chart, you need to just be charting the 1-minute chart. So all happening in energy markets today, new lows. Everyone's going to tell me the reasons why this is happening, but the fact is the targets were there before those reasons were really coming to the fore. We see upside targets for crude oil. So crude is actually not down by very much. The same for WTI. So US nat gas is actually up 5%. We've got some targets there. Of course, it's going to be a quiet day in the US with Martin Luther King Day, and we've got emissions sitting at 78.55. Just can't get back above that 50 level, and we need to hold the 77.50 level. That was the low. Mixed targets, mixed picture. We were neutral on emissions today. And the other one is, of course, power prices are falling as well. See German power falling to new levels there. There's very big downside targets there, and again we see that coming through on the alerts. So we see here new downside target to 231. Most people can't believe that, but that's what the targets are saying. We've had these targets before. That one generated this morning. And if we look at the whole of the European power and gas market, remembering these prices come with Updata Professional and Enterprise data from OTC Global Holdings. We've got all the gas hubs and all the power markets in Europe. So here we're seeing French power, new downside targets there on these charts, and you can inherit these screens straight away. Spanish power had a big day down on Friday again. We've got downside targets there, so really quite key. And we can go right into the Eastern European, Bulgarian power, and even Greek power was down 9% on Friday on the model data. So we're seeing that there. This data all coming from Updata. And if we look at UK energy markets, where all the news is about high energy prices, even today, chief execs of energy majors saying that prices are going to be high for a long time. Well, the fact is they're falling at the moment with some big downside targets. This is Cal24 UK power, and we see these downside targets again. This data all coming as part of your Updata system. So really valuable to have that across all the contracts for pretty well every market in Europe. So coming to the major markets, again, quite a lot of red on the screen today. Of course, the US market being closed, so that is a factor. So we start by looking at the dollar. The dollar is actually up slightly this morning, but the reality is that that's the dollar index. But this 105 ceiling, we are still bearish on the medium and short-term chart with downside targets, and so that's quite key. The euro is actually also just slightly down against that just slightly stronger dollar today, but not enough to change the fact that we are in bullish trends. We've got a target here to 114.90. You cannot ignore the targets. Looking at sterling against the dollar, just touching this 122 level this morning, and again we've got upside targets here, 127, 123, 124. Just watch those targets, and if you're trading currencies, keep an eye on the 1 minute targets. Those are going to be really critical. And if we look at sterling against the euro, sitting at 112.76, so fairly flat there. Euro has slightly the upper hand. Bitcoin, the big news here is that Bitcoin has broken back through 20,000. So that's really quite significant. We saw a big move on Friday. We've held on to that gain. That puts us into neutral and to bullish territory on the medium term chart. This is my long-term chart, the weekly. A long way to go here, but that is looking quite good. There is a target to 22,000 that was given back at 17.6, and we said if we moved above that level, that would activate that target. So that's where we're heading for the moment, but we do still have big downside targets hanging over us. Just tells us that we're going up before we're going down, and that's the nature of the targets. The markets in the US closed today. We're seeing the futures just trading on the 24/7 market, but closed. And we look at the FTSE future sitting at 7,840, really just nudging for a new all-time high on the FTSE future. So UK stocks looking very strong indeed, and the DAX in Germany up 1/3% as well. So we're seeing those lower energy prices really filtering through to share prices in European companies. So that's really quite significant. Japan was down just under 1%. Fairly flat performance here on the weekly chart. The daily we see we're just through the cloud there. And if we look at some of the other markets, China up 1%. So looking a little bit better there. Enough to be bullish on that medium term. Of course, the lockdowns ended there. The Sensex in India down just under 1/3%. So not quite strong there, a bit of a mixed picture. And the Aussie market up nearly 1%. Again, just looking stronger there, back above the cloud on the weekly, looking very strong. This resource-laden stock market looking very strong indeed with targets. And you can read those targets off your charts, so really quite key. I'm running on Refinitiv Icon here, but of course you can run Updata on top of lots of different data sources, so the choice is yours. Looking at gold, we're sitting at 1912, holding that 1900 level pretty successfully. Had a really quite a good run in gold. We've got upside targets here, and the levels are all lining up for gold. So 1950 is the area, and just watch these shorter term targets. If you're trading precious metals, use the 1 minute targets. They're going to be really, really valuable to you. Silver's holding $24, so that's really significant as well. And if we look at US bond yields, we are looking back there. We are just sitting at just under 3.5%. So the expectations increasingly that the Fed is not going to raise rates. Markets closed in the US today, but the key thing for Europe is these falls in energy prices, some 10% down or more, really significant. And of course, watch the new emergence of targets on your screens. We've just got another one that's just kicked in whilst we've been talking here. Wait for that one to be activated, but we can see we are going lower still. This is not the bottom. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.